Draupadi gets abducted. Yudhishthira has lost everything. The four Pandavas and Draupadi all are still living in exile. The person who has abducted Draupadi, and they are about to kill this man. Yudhishthira recognizes who that person is. So Yudhishthira, in all his magnanimity, says, let go of him, forgive him. This decision to forgive Jayadratha becomes a major point in the war because Jayadratha becomes responsible for the death of Abhimanyu. Welcome to Mahabharata Dialogues. My name is Abhilash and you are listening into a series on Yudhishthira, from Raja to Dharmaraja. Yudhishthira has lost everything now and he is living in the forest. One would expect someone who has gone down from the high pedestal of being the ruler of the entire world to a forest dweller to be feeling somewhat upset about it. But not Yudhishthira. He is living the life. He says, this is an opportunity for us to perform a lot of yagnas, to give a lot of dana, and in general, collect a lot of punya that will help us in the hereafter. In fact, he says more than once about how fortunate they are, they being himself, his brothers, and his wife, that they, after having been forced to be kings with the responsibility of ruling a kingdom on their shoulders, to finally be relieved of it even for a short period as 12 years, so that they are able to live the life that they have always wanted. As you can imagine, the brothers and the wife are not so happy with this. Along the way, they visit a lot of holy places, meet a lot of learned men, and listen to a lot of stories. In fact, there is an entire parva in Mahabharata called Markandeya Samasya Parva, in which Yudhishthira asks Markandeya to tell him story after story after story, and Markandeya obliges. The Shravana Bhagya, so to speak. As you listen to stories of great people, you also gain a lot of punya. And from here, Yudhishthira sends Arjuna to go and collect weapons. And as Arjuna goes to the celestial abode of Suras to collect all the weapons from them, the four Pandavas and Draupadi all are still living in exile and collecting more punya by performing yajnas. One day, Draupadi gets abducted. And when the Pandavas chase him down, the person who has abducted Draupadi, and beat him up and rescue Draupadi, and they are about to kill this man, Yudhishthira recognizes who that person is. That person is Jayadratha, who happens to be the wife of Dushala, who's the sister of Duryodhana, and thereby the first cousin of Pandavas. So Yudhishthira, in all his magnanimity, says, let go of him, forgive him. This decision to forgive Jayadratha becomes a major point in the war because Jayadratha becomes responsible for the death of Abhimanyu. The Pandavas did not like it then, but Draupadi hated this decision. She called Yudhishthira a eunuch who did not deserve to be a king when he was, because all he knows is how to forgive and never to punish those who deserve it. Yudhishthira's life goes on in the forest, and one day there is a situation where four brothers, Bhima, Arjuna, Nakula, Sahadeva, go to fetch water from a lake, and refusing to heed to the words of warning by a yaksha, drink the water and die. Yudhishthira goes there in search of the brothers, sees all the dead bodies, understands what has happened, talks to the yaksha, and has a long conversation about dharma and various ideas and questions and answers. And finally, after the yaksha is satisfied, he is asked to choose any one brother that he is going to revive. This is where we see the peak of Dharmaraja, because he does not ask for Bhima or Arjuna, his brothers, the strongest ones who could have helped him gain his kingdom back. Instead, he says, I want Nakula to be revived. Nakula, who's the elder brother of his father Pandu's second wife Madri, because he says it is unfair that two children of Kunti should live while both the children of Madri are dead. When this is presented, the yaksha is so happy that he brings all the four brothers back to life. This yaksha, as some of you have guessed, was Yamaraja himself, his own father. And he says, I bless you, O Yudhishthira, for what you have done today, that your disguise would be perfect. Your 12 years of exile are over. You are supposed to go into a 13th year of exile. where you're supposed to stay in Incognito, and I give you this blessing. And the blessing is that Yama says, if you were to walk into Hastinapura, into the palace, into the sabha of Duryodhana in your current form, he will still not be able to recognize you. I bless you with this. For 1 year, you will not be caught, you will not be recognized by anyone. With that blessing, they all walk towards King Virata's kingdom. And in this kingdom, they are going to spend an entire year. The story of Yudhishthira started with his birth in exile and went to Incognito, and we have finally come to a portion where another 12 years of exile are done and he is back into Incognito. One time he was living disguised as a Brahmana in Ekachakra, which is when they went to Draupadi's kingdom and won Draupadi, and this time they are going to go into Virata's kingdom. Here he is going to be known by the moniker of Kanka. Kanka, as irony would have it, is a person who is going to be a counsel to the king of Virata, and he is going to teach the king how to gamble. Because in the last 12 years that he has spent in forest, Yudhishthira has actually learned how to become a good gambler. And that is the story of Yudhishthira in exile. And that is how he enters into the Matsya kingdom where King Virata rules. Now, there is a Senapati or commander of Virata army. His name is Kichaka, and he has the evil eye upon Draupadi, who's also living in disguise as Sairandri. He tries to molest her, and Draupadi runs to Yudhishthira and says, "Protect me." Yudhishthira, ever cautious, says, "We have spent 12 years and 11 months. If we do something to Kichaka now, we will be found out. Draupadi, have patience for 1 more month." Draupadi, for the 3rd time, is being told that people will insult her, will molest her, and her husband, the eldest of them, will ask her to either forgive or move on from it, or bide her time. Draupadi will have none of it. She asks Bhima, and Bhima is going to go on to kill Kichaka, but that's a story for another day. After another big showdown where Duryodhana attacks the kingdom of Virata, finally Yudhishthira reveals to the king Virata who he is. And once they find out that the 13 years of exile is over, in Upaplavya, a wedding is arranged. A wedding between the daughter of Virata, Uttara, and the son of Arjuna, Abhimanyu. And this wedding ceremony becomes the reason for all the kings and allies of Pandavas to come and meet in Upaplavya. From where Krishna is going to go to Hastinapura as Shanti Duta, or messenger of peace. That messenger of peace story is a story for another day. What you need to know is that peace mission fails and war is imminent. 11 Akshauhinis, where 1 Akshauhini is approximately 2 lakh units of war, are fighting on behalf of Kauravas, 7 on behalf of Pandavas. The war is imminent, and Pandavas and Kauravas are going to have a showdown in Kurukshetra in a few short months. Yudhishthira is finally the king behind whom his bannermen have assembled, and the greatest, bloodiest war in the history of Bharatavarsha is going to be fought here.